And what about your coming out journey? I mean, you know, when did you realize for yourself what your sexuality was, and then when did you let others know? And then even further on, you have more sort of gender identity acceptance later in your life. Tell me about that process.
Totally. So yeah, so I kind of have two coming out stories, if you will. My first was coming out as a gay person. I came out, I think I must have been 16 years old, and I came out only because I was kind of forced out in a way. My parents, as loving and accepting as they were, and they gave me so much praise and love, but I also got this feeling that they didn't approve of queer people. And so I did everything in my power to try to prevent my queerness from coming out. And eventually it came out, believe it or not. And
It did.
I found out because my aunt, she called me up one day and was like, yo, your mom knows that you're gay. And I was like, first of all, I was like, how do you know I'm gay, Aunt Becky?
Yeah, Aunt Becky.
So I was
How
like,
did
well,
Aunt Becky know?
she always knew. She always knew. Aunt Becky is also on the queer spectrum, so she
Okay.
always knew. So my mom found out because I had actually, we had a family computer, picture it, 1996, 1997. Family computer, giant, it takes up the whole desk, you know, the like 10-minute long, it's like,
Yes, exactly. The
And-
days of dial-up.
exactly. Come on, AOL AIM. And so I ended up having like, I was chatting with some dude and I forgot to log out of the family computer, just walked away. And my mom, she wasn't a snooper, but she sat down and she like goes to get on to, I don't know, MSNBC. And like my instant messages are like right there. And she read some details and she was like, oh.
Bloop.
So, yeah. So she called Aunt Becky and was like, what do I do?
Oh.
And Aunt Becky was like, why don't you just wait until he's ready to come out?
Right.
But when Aunt Becky told me that mom knew, I was like, well, no use in hiding it at this point. So I came out to my mom and it took her a couple of months, but she was so much more accepting than I anticipated and has been really just supportive on my queer journey growing up. And it's been great. You know, went from me thinking, oh, my mom's never gonna accept me, to my mom marching in the gay parade, you know?
Yeah.
So I was really grateful for that. And then I had my experience coming out as a trans person. So I am a drag queen, but I also identify as trans non-binary. And you know, that's something that it took me a while to come to, and drag really helped me come to that realization. And I think that's why I had such an attraction to drag in general, because for me, it wasn't just about the performance element, but it really helped me to experiment with my gender identity.
Well, make sure that you're following Maebe A Girl at Maebe A Girl, and you want to follow us at Hey Qween TV on all of our social platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, JDate, Black People Meet, Christian Mingle. Adam, make up a website.
Grinder?
Yay! We're looking. All right. Now it's time to get into it.
Get into it. Get into it.
Now, Maebe A Girl, you did the neighborhood council, and then you decided you wanted to kick it up a notch, and you decided to run for Congress. You ran for Congress in District 28, which was my district, and I voted for you, my dear.
Yes.
Now, what made you decide to take it a step further and run for Congress?
You know, when I ran for neighborhood council, I didn't know if anybody would vote for me. And not only did they vote for me, but I won and I got the most votes out of anybody. And so that was really inspiring to me. It was not only inspiring to me, but I had a lot of people reach out to me and be like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so inspired that you won and you did this. And it inspired me to go further. And I thought to myself, well, if I can win this local election as a representative of the queer community, as a representative of the progressive community, why can't I go bigger? And I thought about it, and there has never been a trans person in Congress. As of now, there's about 10, 12 out gay people in Congress. There's 435 members of the House of Representatives. but there's never, ever in the history been a trans person, a non-binary person, a gender non-conforming person. And I think that is so messed up because, you know, when I think about representation, how can we expect our representatives that we elect to accurately represent us when they don't know anything about us or know what it's like to be us?
Yeah.
So that's why we need more queer people in office. We need more trans people in office. We need more people of color in office. We need more people of all different kinds of experiences in office to accurately represent all of the different kinds of people that live in this nation. And it's really not that complicated of a concept, but when you think about who is in our government, it's very easy to think about somebody who is white, male, old, and wealthy. And very rarely do we see people from, something that varies from that. And so I thought to myself, why not run? And one of my big inspirations was AOC.
Yeah.
You know, AOC, I love her because she is somebody who is the people for the people. And, you know, she's not a career politician. I hope at this point she becomes a career politician, but she knows what it's like to be a regular, working class, everyday person. And we don't see enough of that in our government at all. We especially don't see, you know, gay people, we don't see trans people enough. And so I thought to myself, why not? AOC took a chance and she said to herself, you know, if there's no other progressives, why not me? And I thought about that too. I looked at who was running in my district, District 28, which was against Adam Schiff, one of the most well-known,
Yes,
well-funded
exactly.
Democrats. And I thought, well, why not me?
Because now Adam Schiff, has tons of money behind him and is very high profile, right during the impeachment hearings. He was right out there. But sweetie, you came very close to being there. You lost by less than 1% in the primaries. The key points you ran on was protect, advocate, and legislate. Tell me about the campaign and what you were standing for.
So my campaign for running, it was pretty basic. Like you mentioned, the points were to protect, advocate, and legislate, to protect women, to protect queer people, to protect minorities, to protect immigrants, to advocate for diversity, representation, and inclusion, and to legislate for progressive action. And, you know, those are pretty basic concepts, but that is sort of the gist of what I want to do on a large scale. And, my political values are very much in line with most of the progressive values that are out there right now. So if you voted for Bernie, you know, most of my values align with Bernie. And if you compare Bernie's values or progressive values in general to my opponent at the time, you know, they didn't match up. And Adam Schiff is, you know, first of all, let me say, when I started my campaign, I never wanted to do a smear campaign because in many ways, Adam Schiff is not the worst person in the world. He does support queer people. He does support a lot of social elements that I agree with. But at the same time, he's very much a corporate Democrat. If you take a look at my opponent's, where all of his funding came from, it's from weapons makers, from the defense industry. And then how can one expect somebody who takes money from the weapons industry and the defense industry to not then turn around and support that industry when it comes down to votes? So when it comes down to it, you are very much a product of where your money and your support comes from. If the people are supporting you, you are going to be supporting the people in office. However, if you're running for office and the people that are supporting you are the pharmaceutical industry, agricultural industry, defense industry,
Preach it, sister.
You know, that's obviously who that person is going to be supporting and voting for when it comes to legislation. And those are a lot of the things that sort of slip through the cracks, I think, to the average voter, somebody who's not paying attention to every single thing that's going on in government business.
It's so important for people who are not backed by big money to start stepping up, stepping in to represent for all the rest of us who are not millionaires, who, need a lot of support and care, and especially in our community, in the queer community, that has an eye on us and all of the letters in our rainbow.
Exactly.
Now, you had a lot of people supporting you, including everyone at Hey Qween, but you had some endorsements and supporters that were pretty amazing. Now, we have some more sophisticated and some more sassy. Now, number one, you had Tiffany, New York Pollard. If New York agrees, sweetie, you got it. You also had here Miss Sarah Silverman. She was also someone who endorsed you. That must have been exciting.
That was cool. You know, it was kind of a surprise. I was just like checking my notifications on Instagram, and it was like, oh, Sarah Silverman tagged you in a story. I was like, oh, okay. And you know, she was like, oh, these are all the people I voted for, and she checked off Maebe A Girl. I was like, yes.
Yes. All right, next we have Libby Higgins. This viral star made a video supporting you. Oh my goodness. Now I'm not familiar with Libby Higgins.
McRib, bitch.
Oh. And of course, a woman who knows all about things that are smart, Miss Alaska Thunderfuck.
Yes.
Another great supporter mentioned you on her podcast. And then you have some important organizations that were supporting you as well. DSA LA and Our Revolution LA, who, you know, were behind you as a candidate.
Totally, and you know, they were really important because those are some of the progressive organizations that are working not just during election periods, but year round to try to not only influence legislation, but also influence, you know, who we're voting for as candidates. And, you know, we talked about money earlier. So often do we see that political candidates who have a lot of money get a lot of attention and get a lot of votes. And that's not how it should be. That's not how it should be at all. And the reason that I love Our Revolution, Ground Game, DSA is that they are very much for the people. They are for the people, and you know, those are the kind of people that they endorse, people that are not backed by corporations, people that, you know, have very progressive points of view for Medicare for all, for abolishing ICE, for the Green New Deal. And those are the kind of people that I want to be associated with in the political world.
Us too, maybe. You are our future. I need you to just keep running. Give it up for this lady right here. Really incredible. Now, if you want to see pieces of our interview that couldn't fit in the show with Maebe A Girl, you're gonna have to go to patreon.com/HeyQueenTV. Also, podcasts, videos, behind the scenes tea, photos, Lady Red's So Real podcast, all 56 episodes are there. So make sure you do that. Maebe, I am just happy to know you, proud to support you.
Thank you.
I agree with your positions. We need more people like you taking this inspiration and running for office. I know these two agree.
We're not worthy.
Keep it up, sweetie. You are turning it out, and we fully support you.
Thank you, Johnny. You know, before we end, could I make an official campaign announcement?
Yes, please.
Yeah. This happens to be a Hey Qween exclusive. I figured I might as well let y'all know that we are announcing our next campaign for Congress. So we're running for 2022. We're going to be running for the U.S. House of Representatives here in California District 28. So we are back in the game and doing it again. So I hope that I have your support and everybody else's.
You do.
Thank you.
Well, honey, in honor of that, you have snatched a trophy, sweetie. Yay! You earned it. Yes. Hopefully soon to be Representative Maebe A Girl. We will be supporting you. And I support you, Adam Joseph and Erickatoure. Thank you so much for being here, Maebe. Now, Maebe's gonna stick with us and play Look at Her, so you don't wanna miss that. And we'll see you next time on Hey Qween. Bye, baby. Maebe A Girl for the House of Representatives. Yes.
Hello, children.